much. Thank you. You may take your seats, please. Please take your seats. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just to thank the Honorable Nkombo, who is standing in for the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Thank you for being here and for inviting me to speak. I wish to thank the other ministers, cabinet ministers that are here, and also Minister for Lusaka Province, who I'm seated with over there. Obviously, it's important to recognize the Mayor of the Greater City of Lusaka and Director General of the Drug Enforcement Commission, who I'm seated with there, sharing the table, and we were chatting quite a bit. Not a lot, quite a bit. Because we were keen to, for me, I was keen to be part of this discussion, so listening to the presentations. And also to appreciate the Dean of the Missions accredited to the Republic of Zambia, Head of Missions, the UN Resident Coordinator, again, I'm seated with her there, Madam Beatrice Msembi Mutali, and the permanent secretaries that are here, and members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly delighted to be here today. I know you have expressed views that I'm the first sitting president to come here, and you are appreciative of that. Actually, the opposite is true. I'm extremely delighted that I've been able to be with you today, to share these experiences from young people, those that are afflicted, and parents, couples, specialists, lecturers, the church colleagues that have been able to be part of the panel here. It's a very, very important situation for me to be here. And I'm really grateful, honored, Madam Director General of the Drug Enforcement. Thank you for inviting me. And with what I've picked here, even if you didn't invite me, I would have get crushed just to be present here. So, thank you. It is important that we as a people, as communities, as a country, obviously as a global community, Africa and a global community, that we work together to address drug challenges in our health status, and obviously the issues that arise out of drug abuse, alcohol included in there. Zambia is commemorating this special day today. I know it occurred a few days ago, but it hasn't lost the efficacy of its value for us to be here. So thank you for all of you for being here. Obviously, the theme has been well addressed. I will not spend time on that, because by the time it is now that I'm presenting, we've had many speakers repeat the theme. So we are well aware of the theme. So fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, let me just indicate that this problem of drug abuse, alcohol included, is closely linked, I must say, to our anti-corruption fight. Very, very closely linked, because it's almost difficult to separate the two. They sort of feed one into another, and also the reverse order is quite right. So it's very important that we in government, central government, but also local government and other quasi-government institutions and indeed the specific institutions like the drug enforcement and the other agencies around the world that operate here must work together. Very important that we work together. And I must say, here in Zambia, this problem, this drug abuse, this corruption problem is quite deep-rooted. We know it, and there's no need to be pretentious. We cannot solve a problem we don't acknowledge that it exists. So the starting point is to acknowledge that we have a problem, and we need to resolve it. We need to resolve it. In resolving it, we have to work as a team. And in our own country, really, this whole system, this whole challenge of drug abuse and indeed corruption is part of a system, a dreadful system that diverts money away from investment in our people. First, the persona themselves, the individuals themselves that get wasted. The soul, the body, the spirit, the skills that we lose as a result of drug abuse and indeed corruption. It's such a waste. And we must do everything to ameliorate this situation, everything within our capacity. The family issue, strength of the family, I'll comment about it later. But because everything starts in the family, at that level. You talk of a community. It can't be a community without a family. A school, a hospital, health facility. Even sport, you can't have a football club, a netball club without acknowledging that the players come from families. So the family is crucial as a unit that can help us to fight this challenge. And I think this theme is so befitting that as the panel presented, it was running through my mind that I must emphasize the importance of family. Even to many other things, quality of a nation is anchored on the quality of the family in all respects. It is also really something that is worrying us, especially on the heels of the Financial Intelligence Center report that has just been released. So you see that these illicit financial flows to some extent relate to drug abuse. They relate, if you like, to the global financial system and the challenges that it brings, including threatening political stability in countries, economic, social stability, security around the world. The extremism you see today, partially, you can trace it to drug abuse, you can trace it to corruption. Yes, you can trace it to poverty. That is true. And I'm sure I'm drawing connections, a connection to the audience here. So this is a broader issue. It's a broader problem. In our part of the world, Southern Africa, for years, we thought that extremism, terrorism is for the Horn of Africa, is for some other areas, northern part of Central Africa, West Africa. Today, as you sit in this hall, we have extremist activity in our neighboring countries, Mozambique, northern Mozambique, in particular, Cabo Delgado. And we are all working hard to stem that so that it doesn't spread. doesn't compress us from the north, now the south, and we're in the middle. These things are connected. No need to even talk more about money laundering. And I'm referring to the Financial Intelligence Center report. That as we tackle it, we must look at the subject of today. Its contribution, the subject of today, and its contribution to the challenges that I'm talking about. And back to the family. Does a family desire to raise a terrorist? No. Does a family desire to raise a drug addict? No. But there are failures along the way at the family level and governmental level and other institutions, including our multilateral organizations, the UN and others. Again, this underscores the importance of us working together. And I must say that as a nation, we are ready to play our part, to perform our part in dealing with these issues, these challenges, societal challenges, which we acknowledge and accept that they exist. But then the next step is that we must deal with these issues head on to help our children. And I'm glad I listened. I sat here. I don't like going to a meeting, minister, local government, standing in for home affairs, just to give a speech and walk away. There's no value you get from there. Sitting here and listening to what we've listened today is more important. So, as part of our endeavor to ameliorate, to reduce, to prevent drug trafficking from derailing our economic agenda for development that will assist to deal with the subject of today, we are determined as a country to do what it takes to be part of the solution, not to exacerbate the problem as government, but to be the ameliorating provider, amelioration provider. I therefore call on all of our citizens to join hands with the Drug Enforcement Commission in fighting drug trafficking in our country and beyond. And I have noted over months now that some of the operations that have been conducted, which the Drug Enforcement Commission have seized significant quantity of drugs such as heroin, cocaine, high-grade cannabis. Maybe I shouldn't continue with the list because one young person will say, oh, there's another drug I didn't know. Then I'm going. You heard one of the panelists. Some of you didn't see the value of the panelists saying, I will not list them out. I think she understands what she means, because I hear in this sphere, people like trying something new. But we have to say some of these things. But I'm sympathetic to that view as well. So it is really important that we render our support to the institutions that fight drug abuse, including alcohol. Fellow citizens, drug abuse has also devastating effects on individuals involved. As you have heard today, their families. You heard from a father, you heard from a mother, how the food was not taken every meal time. And that triggered her to say something is going on. Her lesson must be our lesson, so we can save that one life. Living in our home, that's the importance of the family. Because it's the one that takes note first of something amiss. something unusual happening. It's a family. The community at large has a responsibility. There's no question about that. You have heard that the development of an individual raising a child is beyond the family, yes. Nuclear family, extended family, other community components are equally important, and we must all engage. We know, we have heard here, how a young fellow can challenge the father or call the father by their first name. It may be okay in the English culture. It's not in the African culture. Certainly not. I'm close to my kids, especially my daughter. But hardly would she call me by my first name. She will call me by my family name, which means connotes something different, connotes closeness between her and myself. So, it is important that we deal with these issues. Gender-based violence, the motivation to attack the weaker sex is encouraged when the other party is high. High, isn't it? So we may just be lawyers dealing with gender violence. That's not enough. We must go to a root of gender violence. This is one of them, isn't it? This is one of them. We fight this one successfully, we can ameliorate other, if you like, exposures. But the inherent issue could be what we're dealing with today. You must watch films. Watch some of the films in other countries. I don't want, because now I'm head of state, I'm more restrained than when I was a freer man. I would have mentioned the name of a country where the whole community takes drugs as part of food, and it's routine. And you look at the crime around those communities, look at murders, look at gender violence. We shouldn't be going in that direction as a country, and as a region, Africa and the world. We shouldn't, because it will help us solve a lot more problems that are offshoots of today's conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to fight drug abuse and illicit trafficking, the country must have the correct supporting laws. First, policies. We move away from the family and other areas, but the environment, policy environment, regulatory environment, and indeed the laws. You can't, sometimes society doesn't see the sequence. You can't have the right laws without the right policies. It's the policies that will now drop into the laws and regulations. So the policies must be right, but what drives the policies? It's our values. That's a sequence. Can you devise a policy over something you don't value, you don't understand? Most unlikely. Most unlikely. So I would have said directing. I'm directing. No. I'm asking the Drug Enforcement Commission to finalize, in this respect, the drug and substance control policy. Please finalize that policy. That's an action point. Taking into account international instruments which constitute the cornerstone of international drug control system. And Madam resident rep of the UN, you could assist us, you can help us in that area. On best practices, but also working together on the steps that are required to conclude that piece of work. And that will help us now to drive laws and regulations and domesticate those. But we're not an island. We're a member of the UN. I must say what I said, I think, yesterday when we were swearing in. It was yesterday, isn't it? And the UN AIDS colleague visited us, the World Bank visited us. Young people, I'm glad to see students here. Separate between noise and substance. Please, I hear a lot of noise in our lovely country. Separate that noise from substance. I make a request to the DG, Director General, a capable woman. I make a request to the UN resident representative, another capable woman. Tomorrow, someone seated here will say, no, HH only believes in foreign entities. I can't, man. No, that's noise. That's politicking. The issues that the UN is our own UN. We are the founders of the UN. We are creators of the UN. We are members of the UN. It's our UN. That lady there works for us. Isn't it, madam? She's a civil servant, an international civil servant, working for the UN, for our UN, based in Zambia. So we're not asking a foreigner to assist or work with us. The IMF is not a foreigner. It's our IMF. We are shareholders. We pay money. World Bank is our own World Bank. That's why we want it to work with us. We want them to work with us. But tomorrow you hear noise, oh, HH is a stooge of foreigners and imperialists. I'm not a stooge of nobody. I'm only a stooge of you people, the people of Zambia. I love to be your stooge. So let's distinguish noise and substance. Then we may as well say we should not be involved in SADC because it's a foreign entity. We should not be involved in the African Union. We should not be involved in Commonwealth. Those are foreign entities. I'm digressing a little bit. I'm sending a message because the young people are afflicted by this scourge that affects everybody, including elders feeding young people with drugs. So research has been done already on our behalf by the UN. So let's work together. Otherwise, she wouldn't be here. She would have no relevance for being here. I believe I've sent a message. Hello? I'm talking to somebody. Hello? Hello? So, madam, let's work on that issue. And then, obviously, where necessary out of the policy, enhance our laws. And obviously we can move to practices. And you have our full support in that area. This government has acknowledged the weaknesses that have been there. And we want to improve, upgrade on those weaknesses so we can fight drug abuse, including alcohol. Let me give you another issue now, another action line. You are aware that the country has passed the laws for medicinal marijuana to be produced. But our government is undertaking a consultative process on the implications of these two pieces of legislation that has legalized medicinal marijuana and the related aspects, so that we can walk that process properly. The steps that we walk are those that will allow us to minimize, to mitigate the negative effects of legalizing marijuana, though medicinal. We value the medicinal part, but we want to make sure that in accepting that and implementing that, we are not loose enough to allow and encourage drug abuse. We're together. This is orderliness. It's called an organized way of doing things. It's called methodical. Sometimes you complain, Zambians. Haphazard and changanya is what has destroyed this country. We need a more organized way of doing things. Otherwise, we create a new problem or exacerbate an already existing problem. All this is for the love of our people, you, our people, and the global community, of which we are part of. So, we are looking at this issue properly. We want to manage it properly so we don't increase the Director General's workload at the DEC and also at the police. Prevention is better than what? Director General, I'm aware that the DEC is a unique institution superintending over 2 important pieces of legislation that creates you. We are aware of that. Very much aware of that. But we need to review these 2 pieces of legislation yesterday to make sure that they conform with the challenges we've had today here. I'm old-fashioned. I take notes when people are speaking. I listen, I take notes. I saw some holes out of the practices, the real life that we've had today. Can we take those into account in buttoning up these pieces of legislation? And also to make sure that they're in line with international standards. Our government is ready. You in particular as an individual, we have had conversations outside of this function today. You know that this government confers great support to the DEC and to you as the Chief Executive. Obviously, you do know. We're not about to change that position. We retain our belief and our support in the organization and your leadership and your colleagues. And I want to thank the former leaders of the DEC that are here. It shows that you're committed to the nation. You're committed. You're committed to the people of Zambia, these young people, these young lives. And for us who have children, these are our children who have been speaking here. And the many that are not able to come here because they are shy or they are in a state that they can't even sit here. These are our children. They are nobody else's children. They are our children. They are our brothers, as you heard. They are our daughters. They are our, relatives, fellow citizens. We care. So thank you to the DGs past. I would like the past DGs and the present one, please stand up and face the people so that people can see you, and we thank you for that. You can face the people. You may take your seats, please. Ziko Mukwambili, Twatotela Mkwai, Lwitumeza Hulu, Twasakira Chikuma Mwane, Tunasakiriri Mwane, Twaonga Chomene, Twalumba Kapati. For your services, including the current services. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Now, if these who know it better are still supporting, and I believe Madam DG, you are drawing some advice from these colleagues of yours. Learning never ceases. We always learn until we are 6 feet below. I even proposed myself maybe to be buried just 2 feet below so I can continue looking for knowledge even when I'm sitting there. I can hear the whispers of the alive on top. So, oh, what are they saying now? Ah, I missed that one. So our government is ready to support you in every way possible so you can deliver on your mandate on this issue. Madam Mbahwe, you followed on what the sitting DG said. I've heard. You tweeted. It is only befitting what Madam DG, current and the past 2 women, good women, citizens have said. And I want to ask colleagues if there's anyone from finance, minister standing in for local government, and State House, Cabinet Office, if we're here, we have to construct this drug rehabilitation center. If you look at the money wasted on corruption, $33 million on a non-existent FTJ university. Wasted, gone, thrust in the Kafue River and is now down in the Indian Ocean. It's gone. Out of that, we could have built not one rehabilitation center. We could have built one in every province. This is the connection I talked about, corruption and drug abuse. I'm drawing a parallel here, wastage of resources and allowing our kids to waste. Our own members of the family, Zambian family, global family, to waste because of greed. $35 million. You're young. Arithmetic is good for young people. Do your mental arithmetic. $35 million wasted on the Lusaka-Ndola highway. Not even a kilometer was done. Then we can say, madam, there's no money to build the drug rehabilitation center. No, ndala maziliko, but wastage, priorities, none. I must say it in the lingua franca of the young people. Priorities in the past, there was no. Huh? You heard me, eh? That's the lingua franca in this business, eh? But prudence, there is under the current government. So without much ado, we are in the budget process now. We are a disciplined government. We want to make sure we work within our budget framework. Discipline, prudence, credibility. That's why the world has heard us. And they've taken note of us already in 8 months' time. Seriousness. Leadership is the key here. So I want to say, I don't want to repeat this thing, that in the 2023 budget, Minister Local Government, Internal Security, Minister Community Development, you are seated here, you will co-sponsor that item on the next cabinet meeting. And Madam Mary, you work out a budget. I take notes. Don't come back with saying, no, X is for a plot. You have told us here that the plot is already there. we pick it up from there, and we work as a team. We will save someone else's life. Someone else, you haven't heard me. We will save someone else's life. I didn't say someone else's life. I said someone else's life. You have heard how love was broken here. What else I did here? The issue of capacity operating level. Include that in the budget. We may not deliver on everything on that expansion or capacity build-up, but we can phase it. And this is why, young people, please hear me. The economic reconstruction agenda is #1 in this country. Because with a deliric economy, with a dysfunctional economy, you cannot help anybody. Even with good hearts, as Zambians, as black people, as yellow people, as white people, with our good hearts, we can't help people when we have nothing to help them with. So the economic agenda, when you see me out of the country, we've already calculated what we are looking for. We have to rebuild our economy in order to support the construction of this rehabilitation center. We must also save money and not waste the money. And you must support us, young people. I hope you are beginning to see that leadership is a serious issue. I used to tell you when we were in opposition, you used to say, oh, politics is a game. I told you, this is not a game, it's serious business. Serious business. And we have seen it. It is, the consequences are clear. You have seen them, you have heard today. So let's work on that as well. Luckily, the budget process is already in train. I believe so. So let's do it properly. And also for the UN, Madam Musimbi, when I saw your name, I said, but this one is a Zambian. But I learned that you may be Ugandan, isn't it? Kenyan. So you see, we are one people. We are one people. Same names. So we also need your participation, Madam, in here. So let's have a side meeting. Next action. Next action. That's the third action. Third action. So let's work together with our UN, not a foreign UN, with our own United Nations. That's why it was created. But other law enforcement agencies, it's not just the drug enforcement. The police, we must re-look at the police also. Because I'm talking as one who was inside there. Some of the people brought in there for a petty crime, fundamentally, they committed that petty crime because of what we heard today. So sometimes we try them, we prosecute them, take them to court on that petty crime, and we leave behind the help that they need. Rehabilitation. It's a drug issue. You heard the young man says we would sit in the unfinished building and talk about how we raise money for the next drugs, isn't it? So let's develop, again, local government, minister standing in for home affairs. Let's develop a skill set in the police that will be able to identify that, yes, this one has come in because they stole a phone, but the real problem is not a phone they stole. The real problem is a drug one. I think we'll be doing better by working like that. Some people are complaining, oh, the new dawn is changing things. Yes, we're changing things because things were not working. That's why the country was going down. Things were not working. I had detractors who used to say, HH, the president, councillor or MP, shan. The system has not delivered. So we must reform the system. We must think outside the box in order to solve problems like this. At least ameliorate them. It affects our men and women in uniform as well. And it happens everywhere. So I suggest really colleagues in cabinet who are here, members of parliament, Mayor Lusaka, let us go back to our council chambers, to that parliament there, and begin to re-look at how we do business, taking into account conditions on the ground, such as what we've had today. I wish there was a dictaphone here. Oh, madam, have you organized the recording of the conversations here? So I would like you to share, that's action point 4 or 5, to share the panel discussions and the questions that came with local government so that they can be listened to all the council chambers across the country, 116 chambers. They must listen to this conversation as long as you've done the legal check that that is not illegal and the parties agree. I certainly agree on my speech. And then to Parliament. The Mayor Lusaka, you're here. Oh, thank you. You're standing in for her. Put motions on your council agendas to listen to the conversations around this panel. You pick something, and because there are certain bylaws you can change. There are certain bylaws you can change to save someone's life, someone's love, and that parliament too. I hope I'm making sense to somebody. We believe in the youth of our country. You have already said imiti ikula empang. Now, if we allow imiti ikula to be destroyed before they become impanga, we will not benefit from the skills, from the hard work. I can say so many things. So we love the youth of Zambia. But let us work together. You, the youth. There was a question that was asked here. As a fellow youth, how do you assist each other? I'm sure you heard that question. So that you can save one of your colleagues who is going in the wrong direction. So let us work together amongst yourselves first. School issues, peer pressure, I've heard it. Let us strengthen each other amongst yourselves. We love you. Don't self-destruct. There's a lot awaiting you out there. I went around in the presentations outside there, in the hall, and I see there are many partners that are working with DEC to deal with this issue. That's the way it should be. We can't fight this alone. But amongst the youth, the many young people presenting outside, let us enhance positive influence. Clubs, outreach, social media. Let's use it not for the dark side, but for the bright side. Teaching, influencing. That's what I'll do. I'm one fellow, sometimes difficult to share your personal experience. I'm one fellow who has never smoked any cigarette Yet, I had friends who were smoking. I still have some. I've never taken alcohol. Yet, I would go to a bar for 2-3 hours. I'm watching these guys drink. The personal friends of me know that. I used to laugh at them. I say, you're going into your pocket, taking money, and you are buying this stuff to drink. Please forgive my language before I say it. And after 30 minutes, you go to the loo and urinate your cash there. I said, ineanga ndalama waiona nienda ugula cement nimanga kanyumba iwe wataya mu toilet ndalama yako. I think that was positive influence, isn't it? The colleagues thought they would convert me to smoking. I said no, but I sit with them. Convert me to drink? I said no. Be strong. That's an encouragement to the youth. Don't walk to follow anybody anyhow. They will walk you over the Victoria Falls. Maybe them have decided to commit suicide. You haven't. Then they tell you, Mwana, follow me. They have already decided that they're committing suicide. And you follow them. By the time you realize they're flipping over, you check, you also flip over. Please. We love you. Government will work with you, the youth. One of the measures, some of the measures, just to give you a tip of the iceberg, and I won't waste too much of your time. Minister local government touched on it. Just 5 areas that we designed that we will support our young people so that partially they can desist from what we've heard today. But also partially that they will get skills, jobs, business opportunity. One is a free education, which the minister has already indicated. It was orchestrated deliberately to keep the girl child, the boy child, at least 12 years in school through free education. We thought about it. It just didn't come about, especially that I'm a beneficiary of that myself. And most of the people who are ministers today. So we keep our kids gainfully engaged and they're acquiring skills. Free education. Just 10 months ago, people were arguing that, no, 30, awe. Agasanga kwizolupia we, alebe povufi we HH, agasanga kwizolupia. Today, it is there, free education. Priorities to support our beloved young people. And now it's not just young people. I love watching what you guys post on social media, what is on television. I was watching a lady in Mansa who is 40 plus or 50 years. She's gone back to school because of the free education. What a wonderful thing. What a wonderful thing. Now we are overcrowding in classrooms, isn't it? What a good problem to have. It means the kids were not in school. What were they doing? They could have been in drugs, isn't it? Deliberate. Okay. The problem we have now is easier. Buy desks. Can we do that? Yes. Where's the money? It's already in the bank accounts, in the constituencies. Just buy the desks. CDF is there. Classroom space. Yes, it's a challenge. Can we deal with it? Yes. How? In your 2022 budget, your budget, because we're just your custodians, we're just your tools. We've allocated money to complete all school buildings, health centers that were not completed and were left in 2011 by MMD. And in the last 10 years were not touched. We allocated money and the contractors are back to complete the classroom spaces that were left 10 years ago. Is the money there? Yes. Has it been disbursed? Yes. Where is the proof? Call the PS at Education, and Secretary to the Treasury. They will show you the transfers to education. And yesterday I was querying, because I knew I was coming here. I was doing my homework. I was querying the PS Education and the minister, how are we doing? He said, contractors are back, Mr. President. If anyone knows of a school that has been left abandoned, here, journalists, you are here, and no work is being done, it's a government school, please call. Call anyone of the colleagues in government, even the council in that area, call, and we'll appreciate your information. That's how transparent your government is. CDF, second instrument, enhanced from 1.6 million per year per constituency to 25.7 million per year per constituency. Never done before. Is to keep our kids in there. There's health, there's clean water issues, there's education in there, there's a youth fund there, so that we can make our youth active. Soft loans. Make desks. Part of the rehabilitation, Madam DG, is for, let's include in your vision there, to include skills training. Skills training. The Women Fund is in there. Then we have the youth facility under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Minister Elvis Nkandla. You see him on television, including sporting activities, rehabilitation of stadia around the country. I'm sure you followed that. So that there are at least sporting activities for the young people. They are not just idle. Number 4, the first ever SME ministry, Ministry for Small Medium Enterprises. Support instruments are there. Madam Mary, these are the connections you need to have as you superintend over drug enforcement. These are the meetings you should be having with the minister, the PS at SMEs, minister and PS and directors at youth, so that you can connect the youth. Those that are not yet a lost cause, you can direct them somewhere. Let's have conversations, not only through meetings like this, but real time, meaning every minute, every day, every month, every year. Then, number 5, her own ministry. Please stand up, face the people. Madam Doreen Mwamba, Minister for Community Development, in her own ministry. You may take your seat. In her own ministry, she will explain someday better. There are facilities there for vulnerable people. I've heard here, some of the colleagues are afflicted because they are vulnerable, isn't it? There's support that we can draw from there. I know you only know social cash transfer, but there's more she holds there. And again, Madam Mary, can we connect with the minister and the staff, minister connected, so that you can also make a presentation at drug enforcement, so you can leverage each other. And that route will allow us to direct some of the traffic, I mean the young traffic, to her ministry on the facilities that are there. To deal with the vulnerable, to ameliorate the vulnerability, so that we can take them away from this. Those are some of the facilities. There are many others. I guess I've said enough. Back to Director General. You can't do this alone. Even with Madam Musimbi seated there, you too can't do it on your own. UN. We need partners. Those we saw outside, local authority, Minister now, your substantive portfolio, local government. This is the partnership we now need to strike. Churches, all churches, decent churches, genuine Christian churches, Muslim, religion. There's a lot that we can work together to save lives, to save love. Let us do it. Central government, I've touched on it already. NGOs, civil society. These are areas we should work together. And the way this government works now, no need to point a finger at anyone. Let's not talk over each other. Let's talk to each other. Now, mon frère, let's not talk over each other. Let's talk to each other. I'm not a believer in street stuff myself. I'm a believer in discussing, sharing views, agreeing what we should do together. So let's compare notes. Let's communicate. Let's talk to each other. So it's a broader range of partners that we need to fight this thing. The police is the last stage. Let's invest more on proactivity, prevention. I think that will serve us well. Let me conclude by calling on all of my fellow citizens of this country, of this global community, to join in the fight against the illicit drugs and money laundering, corruption, by building strong families as a first call, the first stop, and adopting health lifestyles. A strong family is everything. I said it at the beginning. Strong, firm, but fair. I heard one of the guys here was saying, if you may allow me to use that term, guys, was saying sometimes parents, the father comes in and you think, there's a lion coming in. No. Our children must see us as friends, but respectful relationship, friendship. Not calling us by our first names. But we must be able to communicate to each other on good things and on bad things and challenges. So a strong, firm, but fair family, polite. I must not miss this opportunity to say a family which is well cultured, with strong values. I'm talking about my own beliefs now. Strong values, including simple things like cleanliness in the home, checking what my sons do. I have 3 biological kids, 2 sons and 1 daughter. I don't go in my daughter's bedroom. I use my wife, say, go in there, go and check what's going on there. But for my sons, I walk in anytime. But I knock. I walk in, I see a trousers there, I see a comb there, I said, can you put these things properly? Put them properly there. It's the orderliness that they will appreciate when they grow up. It starts from there. I walk in there, and they know it. They are my friends, but they also know when the line is crossed. They know, for sure. And I said, I didn't have to drink, you don't have to drink. Persuasive, and a bit of twisting. Same with smoking. So it starts in that level, at that level. Respecting people. Our children must respect not just us, but other people. Because if they don't respect other people, even when advice is rendered, they will not listen to it. And you see, even when they go in class, they may not even listen to teachers. So family is important, my dear citizens. These values include hard work. We must not pretend to our children that we can lead better lives without working hard. No. We must teach our children the art of hard work if they want a better life. And then these values they will pass to them, they will pass to their children, and to their children, and their children. That's the first line of defense against this issue we're talking about. God bless our Republic, Zambia, Africa, and our global community. I thank you for your kind attention.